Hello, good afternoon. My name's Holly. I'm one of the customer success managers here at Pebble, and I'll help you sort of walk through the activity setup and just highlight some key features and best practices at each stage. If you want to pop in the chat any questions as we go along, I've got it just to the side, so I'll keep an eye on it. But if you got any questions, we'll do those at the end with a little bit of a live Q&A, but feel free to pop them in the chat as we go. Can you still see this lovely little split screen here? Okay. Essentially, what I'll show you is how to do it from scratch. Let me pop that up there. How you can do it from scratch, and then we'll walk through each step. So all you would do is come into your scheduled activities, click add an activity, and then we will choose block and individual. I'm actually going to go a bit Blue Peter and go to one that we've already got pre-filled out. So what I'll do for that is come into this one here that we've got ready and waiting for us. Essentially, your wizard, when you start, will look exactly the same, except all these fields are going to be empty. So we will come and pop the webinar name, the activity name. So this could be the location. Some people do it in a few different ways. So some providers will set this up for summer and a different one for October camp, for example, whereas some will actually put each new season, if you will, in the schedules, and we'll come on to that in a little bit as well. But what I would probably do is go ahead and pop this as the location name. So we can put location name up here. Then we've got the description. So this is what happens on the day. What do you want to tell your customers before they book? You can use rich text formatting. So essentially you can press bold, italicize, bullet points, numbers, you name it. And you can also pop emojis in there. So you can either just copy and paste, or you can bring up your little emoji bar to pop them in there. It's really good for highlighting different bits of text and making it really stand out. Some people will do it for like discount codes. So you could have like the little siren to make sure people are seeing your discount codes that are applicable to them. Then we come down to your email. So on the email part, this is where the booking confirmations are going to go for when people book. So you'll receive an email to this email address, but it's also going to go in the customer confirmation email as well. So this is how they'll reach out to you. So you might have this different per camp location if you've got lots of big camps running. So we've gone through the name, the description, and the email. The next one is the age range. You can toggle between months and years. So here we've got from 5 months to 11 years. And how that's going to display to your parents is from the minimum to the maximum. Anything over 2 years, even if you display it in months. So if you wanted to do 5.5, we would pop the months in, and it's going to display to your parents in years over 2 years old. We've then got the location. So you can pick from your address book that you've already got, or you can do find new address, pop in the postcode, click find address, and then choose from here. If we choose this address, we can go and rename it. So for example, if the community centre's changed names, but it hasn't updated on maps yet, you can come in and change it here. But it's going to drop the pin to the underlying postcode essentially. You can also add building or room names. So room 1, and then how to find it. On-site parking, use side gate. There will be signs. What's really nice about this part here is it's going to display in their confirmation email as well. So if they get to you and they are struggling to find you, that's when they'll probably pull up that email, remembering that they saw, the step-by-step instructions on how to get to you. And it can really help reduce the amount of emails and calls you get on the day when people are trying to find you. Any extra info that you want to add, you can pop in here. So what they need to bring, plus what you supply. And then your images. So you can add a new image from here, click add image. This is going to look in your sort of photo library within your computer, or you can use the already the library of activity photos that you already have. We're then going to choose your categories. So this is how you will categorize it for not only your platform, but also on the Pebble marketplace. So holiday camp and maybe sport. If people are then searching for a holiday camp near you, then you'll come up in that search location. You've then also got tags. Now, these are really super helpful for a variety of reasons, and we could talk about tags all day, but essentially you can have up to 15 per activity. And these are really helpful for filtering your activities from your scheduled activity pages, bookings. You can do reporting, financial reporting by tag, and also how you sort of guide your customers' flow on your own website as well. So you can have specific iframes or landing pages for specific tags. So for example, here we've got summer program, we've also got camps, we've got the location, Pebble Towers, and the age range. So I could now make a custom landing page for any of those tags. So I might have all of my camps tagged, any activities at Pebble Towers tagged in a different place, and I can really control that customer journey. Then we're going to just continue to work all the way through this little setup guide up the top. So we'll come over to schedules. Now this is actually changing. So by the time you go to set up your activity, this might look a little bit different, but it's actually going to function in the exact same way. I've got a little sneak peek that I'll show you how it's going to look. But essentially what we do here is we add our schedules. A schedule is a block of time, and that's the easiest way to think about it. So we could have, that could be weeks 1 to 6 for the summer holidays. It could be, Easter program. It could be your May program, or it could be splitting out your age groups as well. I'll show you a few examples of how people use schedules right at the end. What we can do from here is create our schedule, give it a name. We can call it week 2. Come and choose our date range. So we'll go for 28th to the 1st of August. Click through our days. We're going to run Monday to Friday, and then we're going to run from 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock. A really good way to save some time here is to just click on these little copy times and then select the days that we need, apply it to all. Maybe on Friday we finish early, so we can actually do, we can come in and change the time on that one. And click done. Another way to save some time here is we can clone the schedule and then just change it. So we can have week 3, again, change the date range. And you can also select terms. So a term date is almost like a template for particular dates. If you're setting up lots and lots of camps, you might want to have week 1 saved already for you. And the way that you would do that is from this term date section here. We would come in and say week 1, select the dates. And then add that term. So that would now be a template that we would see coming up in here. Where I haven't saved this one, it's not going to show me it yet, but you can essentially just choose that and it will pre-populate those dates for you. It's a really good way to save some time. I'm just going to jump into some screenshots of how this is going to look, because it looks a little bit different, but again, all that functionality is there. So what it will look like for you is add an activity, and you're going to get this nice calendar view now. The reason for this, I'll share in a little bit, but essentially you've got all the same functionality here. You'll choose if it's block or individual. We've also got the view from a mobile as well, just here. So we can say that it's going to be all days for a holiday camp. So that would mean if they book in a block, it would be Monday to Friday rather than every Monday. And then we can tick to say that it's also available to book single days. You'll then see an option for trials or no trials. That's more so for your after school clubs, community sessions. But if you wanted to have a trial of a holiday camp, you absolutely could. So they would get that session for free essentially, or for a small fee. You then get to see your schedule visualized basically on this calendar with each session. And the reason that we've changed this view is to allow you that ability to go back and edit times later down the line. You might have noticed historically, to change a date or a time after you've had bookings on it, you have to come through to our support team. This new update is essentially going to give you that freedom to come back in and choose to change those times. And this is how it will look. So you'll be able to click into the specific date you want to change the times for, and then edit that time and make that save. As I say, all of this same functionality is there. And when we have a little bit more sort of when we know when this is going to go live into the product, we'll do a video walkthrough so you've got more resources. But just wanted to give you this quick update so it's not such a surprise when you go to do it. We'll jump back over to this view. And as I say, we can create more schedules for different weeks. And then the only other bit that I will just highlight is the ways to book. So you can choose between block or just individual. For holiday camps, I would recommend all days. Typically people book by the week rather than all Mondays, whereas same day recurring would say, you know, all Mondays within that block or all Tuesdays. But it completely depends on your setup. The next step then we've got is the capacity. So we can head over to capacity, and by week, we can control how many people we can have in that session. We can toggle it up by 5s at a time, or 1, depending on what number we're trying to get to. And then we can also come down and say on Friday, I only have capacity for 10 children. We can also do things such as removing a whole date from that range. So maybe the 29th, I actually don't want a session on that day. I can just pop the whole date into the bin and it will no longer be bookable. All I would remind you to do is come through and select each schedule to add capacity, but it will remind you as well. Just going to recap what we went through with schedules. So block would book all days of the week, so Monday to Friday. Individuals would allow them to pick specific days. Name your schedule. You could call it week 1 football. Set your dates, and then a few good to know. Each schedule has its own capacity, which is what we can see here. And it will also generate its own register. You can assign tickets and add-ons per schedule, so you can really customize and control that. And then parents can book multiple schedules in one go. So parents can't book multiple activities, but they can book multiple schedules within one checkout flow. I'll just come back to this last tip actually, because it's a really good one to know if you're doing both. If you're mixing block and individual, setting up tickets in the correct way is really, really key. And I'll walk you through a few ways to do that and make sure that you're not selling out on specific days, but still charging the full price for a ticket for the week. So on capacity, as I say, you can just toggle all of them from here. Over on the tickets tab, we've got your standard tickets. So you can add as many tickets as you want. You've got up to 30, I now believe, for block and 30 for individual. So what I would typically say is you've got your standard ticket and we're going to choose what schedule it applies to. So this really gives you full flexibility if you have peak pricing for different weeks. So potentially weeks 2 to 4, you might have a slightly higher price. You could still call it standard ticket. You would then assign it to week 2, say charge per session, and it's going to be £25 per session rather than 20 for your peak pricing. This is then going to say how many sessions are within that week or within that block that you've set up, and charge by 25 and times that by 25 to show the total ticket price. Whereas if you charge a set price for all sessions, this will charge 25 overall, no matter how many sessions they book within that block. I typically say if you're doing a discounted rate for your block, to do charge set price, but you would just need to make sure that you're coming back in to turn off this ticket if one day within that block sells out, because you would then be giving them a different price for those few days. Another thing that you can do here is set your family ticket. So you can have 2 tickets, 2 capacities, sorry, and have your siblings both be on the same ticket. And how that would look is if the ticket for one person is £25, for 2, you might give them a £5 discount and make it £45. This way, the capacity is going to draw down 2 from the capacity and ask the guardian for 2 children's details at checkout. We've also got ticket restrictions, so you can choose when is this ticket available. This is really, really good for early bird tickets. So you can call your ticket early bird ticket. And then we can say that's available from today where are we? From today at midnight up until the end of the week at 6 o'clock. So you've got lots of control on when your tickets are available, how many children does that admit, and then how much is it, and are we charging per day in that block or for the whole block as a whole. We've also then got individual tickets. So this is how much is a single day. And this will just keep adding. If they add 3 dates into their basket, they'll then be charged 3 times this amount. So you'll see that you only have charge per session, not the set price. But you have all of the other same ticket restrictions, group tickets, everything else is exactly the same. And you can choose from here which schedules to assign this to as well. We then have add-ons. So we've got 2 different ways to do add-ons. You can charge per session. So this would be things like early drop-off, late pickup, potentially lunches, or per item, which is more for merchandise. So a camp t-shirt or a water bottle, or something they only have to pay one-off that would cover them for the whole week kind of thing. Again, you can give it a name. So we can call this one water bottle. What they get as an optional description: plastic water bottle. You might know that you're not going to have these in stock for week 1, so you might only want to sell them to people that book from week 2 onwards. So we could take that option away, charge £5, and we're going to say per item. You'll see here for our early drop-off, we've got these to charge per session, and that's going to allow people to add them only to the dates that they want to of what they've booked. We've then got booking questions. So booking questions need to be switched on. So make sure this already says on, and then you would just head to your settings tab. If it was red, you can go to settings, booking questions, and just toggle them on. That will turn them on in your platform as a whole. Once you've done that, we can come back over to here. As standard, we're going to ask these 2 questions here. So does the attendee have any medical or allergy considerations? And do they consent to photos and videos? These 2 questions are represented really clearly on your registers with an icon. So they'll be red so the medical will be red if they have medical information declared, and they'll have a little line through the camera if they're not allowed to have photos and videos. You can also then add more questions from the question bank up here. So you could say, how did you hear about us? Let's take that one out. How did you hear about us? And then choose from that one. Add that to your questions. And then you could also drag and reorder in which order these questions are asked. You'll see this one is a single choice select. So it will essentially give them a drop down, and they'll be able to choose from that drop down. And we can also add custom questions specifically for you. So a really good way that some people use this is to measure the impact of their marketing. So you might have put an ad out in a local newspaper, and you want the specific name of that newspaper within this. Please feel free to reach out to our customer support team, and they'll get those questions added for you. Just let us know exactly what you want the question to be and what you want the options to be, and we can add that in. The same goes for any other questions you might need to ask specific that you can't already find in here. So you might have walk home consent, or can your child walk, do you consent for them to walk home? You might need this option to say something slightly different depending on your policy. So again, reach out and we can get those custom questions added for you. And we're then going to go through to team. So if you don't have any non-admins signed into your system, you won't actually see this tab because everyone will be assigned to all of your registers. If you have non-admin staff, they will need to be assigned to a specific register, and then this tab will pop up and be open and available for you. So this poly test here is a register only user essentially, and I've assigned them to this class. This is how it will look if you haven't already been assigned to anything, and you literally just go through and tick which staff members in your platform should have access to this particular register. As I say, all admins are automatically assigned to all registers. And then we can head over to the last step, which is communication. So you can really customize this to whatever you want. You don't have to add anything here if you didn't want to, because they're still going to get all the booking confirmation email specifics that you'd expect. So what they've booked, what the time is, that kind of thing. This is really just for you to add that bit of customization and branding. And this is sort of where it will add that in. So you'll add your image, a little welcome message, and what you need to know. You also have this firm information box as well. Where this is a contractual email, we do just suggest to refrain from having any discount codes or any promotional marketing, just because they haven't opted into that just yet. So we have this little pop-up to just remind you what you can and can't send in this one. Again, same with the session reminders, it's a contractual email, so no marketing, but you can decide if you want session reminders on or off per activity. And yeah, just pop in anything here that you get questions the day before or the day of. You can pop that information in here to reduce the reminders that the questions that you get on the day. And that is literally it on how to set up your activity. The final steps are then to go live with it. When you click save, you'll see there's two options. You've got save as draft or publish. Save as draft is not visible on your Pebble platform, but it might be visible on your website if you use a direct link to it. Publish appears on any iframes, and it also appears on our marketplace. So we can save this one as a draft. And parents are still able to actually go and book this from here if you was to give them this specific link up here. So it doesn't mean it's not bookable just because it's not published. The next thing you can do, if you are continuing to set up your camps, is clone them, and we'll go through that in a second, but I'm just going to quickly recap through the 8 steps to set up that activity to go live. So number 1, activity details, name, description, contact email, and age range. You've then got the location and information. So add your directions, any access notes, what to bring versus what you guys supply. Images, categories, and tags. Showcase how brilliant you are, and then add structure with filters and searches. So you'll see from up here, you can actually filter by tag as well. So if you've got lots and lots of activities, you can come in and filter by tag or by category and really have control over sort of how this view looks. So really think about how you want to structure that. Schedules, so you've got your blocks, schedules, if you're booking for the whole time frame or your individual days. Remember, you can clone, copy, and then they'll create their own register per schedule. Capacity, you can adjust overall or fine-tune down by the days. Tickets, you've got your sessions versus your set price, your family discounts, and ticket restrictions. And then your add-ons, so you can upsell any extras in here. Booking questions is that last part, capture key information, then you assign any staff and automate your emails. So from there, what can we do? We can clone the full activity by clicking on the dots here and clicking clone. That's essentially going to take all that hard work that we've just worked through and create an exact copy. It won't take any of the bookings from the other one if you've already got bookings, but this is really good if we're going to do a new location. So we could say location to name. Change the location here to somewhere else. And then we've got the activity completely ready to go. Maybe this one is only running 1 week, so we can come and delete week 2. And for the capacity, we've got more capacity at this camp, so we can toggle that up. Now you'll see here the tickets is missing this green little mark, and that's because we've got some tickets that were only assigned to week 2. So we just need to come in and delete those out. We're only going to have the football week 1. So we'll delete these out because they don't have a schedule. And then for the individuals, we'll assign them to week 1. Now you'll see that this has a nice little green mark underneath it, meaning that everything is set up complete in here. And you can see that week 1's assigned to both of these tickets. Everything else we're going to keep the same. You could come in and change staff members here if they don't need this one. And then again, we can click save and save as draft. If you already have activities on Pebble, you might find them in past. So for May half term, for example, we could come in from here, click edit, not clone, and we can add new dates in here. So again, we can go into past and clone this. And we're going to call it summer week 1. Change that date range.
Holly,
Yes.
sorry to interrupt, just a quick question. So
Yeah.
when you clone it, you can clone it and then you can just edit the information in terms of dates and stuff like that to the specific ones. So I can edit my May half term, clone May half term, and then just edit it to the summer dates and the summer title.
Exactly that. Yeah. So have you,
Perfect. Thank
if
you.
your May half term already set up here, come in and edit it and then go over to your schedule. And then, yeah, literally just clone one of these previous ones. We would say like summer week 1, change the dates there.
So all the kind of background information will all stay the same. It's literally just the dates and things that you'd need to change them for each camp moving forwards.
Exactly that, exactly that. So what you'll now see is this is now upcoming. And what if you've got May half term, for example, up here, you could just have the location name.
Yeah.
Save that, and then what that's going to do, will it let me save it? Oh, let me add some capacity. That will now make this one active again. Everything else is the same. We've got it from here. You'll see it says from the 26th of May because we had bookings or activities from then. But
Yeah.
parents are actually only going to see the upcoming date, so they won't see anything in the past, and they'll just be able to go and book that week 1. This is
Well,
really,
so
really
it just overrides the previous information then, doesn't it?
exactly. It keeps the same activity, which is really good because it keeps this URL the same. So if you've got any print materials with QR codes or links on Facebook that people might still go back to, it's going to keep this bit the same.
Yeah.
It's going to keep adding new dates to it, so it's really handy for that. Especially if you've got like banners at the location with a QR code on, this means you'll never need to change them because you can just keep adding new dates essentially.
Super. Thank you.
That's okay. Obviously, if you do go and clone the activity, it is then going to generate a new URL. So that's just one thing to bear in mind. If you've got any questions, reach out to us and we can really help you sort of, choose the best structure for how you're going to do it going forwards. But they're the 2 different things that you can do. You can add new dates to an existing activity or create a new activity completely. So here, exactly this. You've got cloning the activity will create a new activity and a new URL. It's ideal for fresh links. So some people do priority booking for like after school clubs and things like that. So that's when you might use a new activity so that people don't have access to that URL before you put it out there. And different locations will need their own activity as well. If you want to clone the schedule within an activity, this is great because it's going to just add those new dates. It will keep the URL the same, perfect for direct links on your website, sharing the QR code, or if you want parents to be able to book multiple sessions at once. Annoyingly, we've just passed May half term, but one of the examples I'm going to show you in the minute, the provider actually has May half term, summer, and then hopefully October, and sort of winter camp all within one activity, and parents can actually go forward then and book whatever you have available all within one transaction. We see when people do this, the average order value goes up, just makes parents' lives easier being able to book it all at once. And obviously they can split the cost with Klarna or paid by tax-free childcare vouchers as well. So it's a really nice way to be able to put lots of bookings in one transaction. The next thing you need to do is sort of share this booking link. So I'll just walk you through some of the options. If you've got an iframe on your website, now an iframe is if you're using one of these lovely things on your website. As soon as you publish it, it will go into that. Now, it does have to be published to be sort of visible on an iframe. If you're using a filtered iframe, again, you just need to make sure that you've assigned that category to the activity. So for that, if you've got an iframe that's just for holiday camps, just make sure that category tag is holiday camps. You've also got your provider page, which is this overall page that looks like this. Again, as soon as you publish an activity, it will go live under here. And then if you've got the direct activity link, if you've cloned it, if you've cloned the whole activity, you would need to update your link. So if you've got a link on your website to a particular location and you've cloned for a new location, you'd need to go and add that link. But if you've just updated and added schedules to that, you don't need to update anything. It's just going to add it automatically in there for you. And then I'm just going to sort of show you a few examples. So global camps here, they use schedules in a really different way to a lot of people. I'll show you on theirs. So they've got the activity called summer camp at this one particular location. And then they actually use the schedules for different age ranges. Now, the reason that they do this is so that for reception, they can have a different capacity to their year ones and their year twos. So it's just a way to group the children. And they're now going to have a separate register for each of these schedules, even though the dates are the same date range. You can then come in and book the whole summer, so all 20 dates that are available, or you can book single sessions and add them to your basket. This helps be able to sort of book, multiple siblings across different activities, all in one basket. And then we've also got koala clubs. Now they do it slightly different, and annoyingly their May half term has just passed, so you can't see it, but they would have summer and May as drop downs in here, and they just have the whole summer available as single session tickets. So you can come in and choose your specific dates that you want to add, and then choose your ticket from here. So kind of two completely different ways that you can set up, but you can see how they kind of suit each other's needs perfectly. I know we've kind of rattled through that. Any questions or bits you want me to go back over? Feel free to pop it in the chat if you don't want to unmute as well.
Hello, thank you for all this information. I have a few questions.
Yeah.
Firstly, would we get this recording sent to us by email? So
Yeah.
Some of the things like the part is a bit complicated, so I would like to go over it again.
Yeah, absolutely. We also have a like 7-minute video as well, so it goes through everything but really concisely. So I can get that sent over to you as well. And then we've got a help guide that's like step by step if you prefer it written. So lots of resources that I can send over to you and share.
That's great. So that's one. The other ones. So I've seen that in the drop-down menu when
Yes.
you select when you go, like as a parent, if I were to go to book an activity and there was a drop-down menu to select yes, that one. In the past, it used to be automatically set as the first thing, especially for after school club. Does it now say select the class for after school clubs as well as holiday
Yes.
camp?
If you've got multiple schedules within an activity, then it will say select a class here. So let me show you how it will look default. So yeah, it will say please select a class. If you only have one schedule, it's actually going to skip that step anyway and go straight into,
Okay, that's great, because with after school clubs, when we had multiple days, we'd had parents confused and they would just book and then be like, oh, I booked Monday because that was pre-selected.
Yes, yeah, that makes sense. So yeah, this will show them this person's got all days within that schedule rather than set days. But yeah.
Okay, that's perfect. That's such a relief. I'm glad to hear that's been sorted. The other one I wanted to ask, again, not quite related to summer camps, but I know at one point there was talk about having a question in the booking questions, or when people say what year group are you in, they would also have a select of class, because some year groups can have more than one class. Is that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, with that it would be a custom question. So reach out to our support team, so it's support@bookpebble.co.uk. Let them know exactly how you want that question worded. So potentially like, please select your child's class, year group and class, and then let us know those options. You can have it as a free text field if you want. So if you don't know that, some people do this for schools. If you don't know all of the schools in the area that they might select, you could have a free text. But if you do know and you want it to be, typed and spelt correctly so you can filter appropriately later on, let us know those options and we can get that added for you.
And so that can be added, okay? Because we have the free text at the moment, and people write random things like 3TD or 3 tigers, 3TI, and then you're like, okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Let us know the options, and we can get them added for you just to your platform, and then your parents will see that as options rather than that free text. That will make it really helpful when you come over to a register. Let me see if I can find a register. Oh, we don't have one with bookings. That's annoying. But essentially on your registers, then you'll have the option to customize, and you can filter as well by booking questions. So any custom questions that you add, you'll be able to filter by that. So rather than having someone say the year and then the class, and then someone else say the class and then the year, you kind of have a bit more control over how that data is shown.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. That's it.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much both for your time. As I say, I'll get this recording sent over to you and then the follow-up resources as well. If you've got any more questions for us, let us know. We're here to help and support you as you set up for summer. And we've also got our office hours every Monday, 1 to 2 p.m.
Okay, thank you.
You're so welcome. You're welcome. Have a lovely rest of your day.